to order. This is our regular session meeting, and it's May 13th, 2025. And we're going to start out with invocation and pledge of allegiance. Is there anybody here who would like to lead us in invocation? I will take care of that. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for allowing us all to be here today. We ask that you work through all of us, help us make the correct decisions for our city. Lord, we pray for this country, and we pray for safety for everyone as they leave here today. And we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And I think I got the microphone thing on now. Do we have any citizens input? Or no announcements? I'm sorry, announcements first. Mary, did you have any announcements? No?
I do. I'd like to congratulate Public Works on how that park looked for the weekend. That was fabulous.
Good. Thank you. Any other announcements?
I know we're not voting on that, but I can second that. It was great. Thoroughly did.
Good. Anything, Chris?
We have the Keep West Walking Beautiful cleanup on June 7th.
Okay. So I want to make an announcement about our agenda. So we did post our agenda out front of the City Hall. There was a mishap. It was not posted on the website or Facebook. And that was unfortunate, but that doesn't make us not legal. It doesn't work. It's not required to be posted on Facebook and or our website. And that's not saying that is acceptable. That's not our normal. And we will try to do better to make sure that it's on both of those, plus the board, which the board makes us legal. But we do like getting it out there on the website and Facebook. It was just an oversight. So I wanted to put that out there so everyone knew that.
I might also add that the man that was going to be here tonight to present from Underground Systems about the
Yeah, he will not be here.
meters will not be here.
That's correct. Any other announcements?
Yeah. I'll announce that on June 7th at 10 o'clock, we're going to have a live auction of the income cards. 3 city auctioneers will be here auctioning off. We'll be here at City Hall, the auctioning of the cards.
So that's the police impound card will be auctioned off on June 7th, and what time?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
And if you want, you can go to 3 City Auction, their Facebook page, and the link on there will bring you to all the vehicles, and you can do online bidding up until May 29th.
Okay.
Online bidding.
Does that site also have all the information on how to be a bidder?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, once you go on to there, it'll go down and put all your information.
Good. Okay. Well, if there's no other announcements, we'll move to number 5, which is citizens input, 3-minute limited related to the agenda items. I don't think there's not any that's filled out for related to agenda items, right? Yeah. And if anybody does choose to speak, all you have to do is fill out one if it's related or unrelated, but we'll do the unrelated towards the end, at the end of the meeting. So that takes us to number 6, the consent agenda items, A through M. Does anybody have any questions about any of the consent agenda items?
I have one. So, Keep West Tawakoni Beautiful. I talked to the guy who owns the property on the right, on the south side of the 276 at the bridge. He's willing to spend a little space for a sign.
Well, we'd have to talk about that in a different
different time.
time. Yeah, that's not really in the consent agenda items necessarily. Any questions? If there's no questions,
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda items A through M.
I'm going to second it. So motion made by Chris, seconded by James.
Jeff Kobe.
Ramsey Lindsay.
Greg Sprinkle.
James Shem.
Chris Burkett.
And it's anonymous. Okay. So that takes us to old business number 7, discussion and or action to approve or deny replat 108 Kingsbridge, West Tawakoni, Texas 75474. Legal description is S2157B tree investment. And the request is to addition lot 1 acre, 1.428. Property ID is 101797, zone single family, SF2. And the request is to replat into 5 lots with a road. Is there any questions on that?
No.
No? Okay. Is there a vote for it?
There was no change made, right? No changes made? No changes made?
Yes. So the lots,
Yeah,
it used to be
that's
4
right.
lots, and then we switched it to 2 lots.
It was for this, because of the setbacks.
At the end of the
Okay.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, and we can't write on these, I almost messed it up. It was towards the end, which was at the turnaround.
Yes, they made the lots bigger
They
and
took out
took
one on
one
each
lot
side.
out on each side, which is what we actually had asked them to do. Planning and zoning was happy with it, they approved it.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything else from planning and zoning as far as recommendations, from what I understood. Correct.
Makes a motion?
Yeah.
To make a motion to approve the replat of 108 Kingsbridge, West Tawakoni, Texas.
Right.
To replat into 5 lots with the road.
I'll second that.
Motion made by James, and it's seconded by Chad. We got a vote?
Jeff Kobe.
Ramsey Lindsay.
Greg Sprinkle.
James Shem.
Chris Burkett.
And we'll pass it across the board. All right, so it takes us 7B, discussion and or action to approve or deny replat 112 Kingsbridge, West Tawakoni, Texas 75474. Legal description is S2157B tree investment. Addition lot 2 acres, 1, property ID is 238498, single family, SF2. The request is replat into 5 lots with a road on that one as well. So,
Just the other
thing.
side.
Same thing, same stuff.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve B, B.
get a second?
Second.
Motion made by Chad, seconded by Chris. Got votes?
Jeff Kobe.
Ramsey Lindsay.
Greg Sprinkle.
James Shem.
Chris Burkett.
The motion passes. 7C, discussion and or action to approve presentation with Jose Prada, 613 Wild Valley. Would like to address the council and request an extension regarding the home occupation. He's not here. So he's not here.
I'll make the motion, we table it to the next meeting.
Motion made by Chris. Do I got a second?
I seconded.
Seconded by James.
Jeff Kobe.
Ramsey Lindsay.
Greg Sprinkle.
James Shem.
Chris Burkett.
So we'll table that. Okay. That takes us to new business. Presentation of TDA Form A1024, CDBG, Section 3, Goals and Concepts as related to the CDBG program and grant contract, CDB 21-0362.
That is, there was a PowerPoint slideshow in your packet that is part of the boxes we need to check for our grant, that you need to read, understand, that GrantWorks is handling all of those employee requirements, but they wanted accountability that.
So there's no action to be made, or?
No action to be made, just present it.
So then we'll just move right along.
Yeah.
That takes us to 8B. Unfortunately, Rick Doyle was not able to be here to do the presentation on this, so we're going to just let that one lay there. Do you
Make
want
a
to table that one?
motion.
You want to table it or what?
Make a motion to table it to the next meeting?
Second.
He did say he could come next month.
Okay. You got your vote in your second there?
Who was the second? Okay. Let me take that.
We got votes on that? The table?
Jeff Cody.
Randy Lee,
Greg Sprinkle.
Tim Shem.
Chris Burkett.
Okay, that takes us to 8C. Discussion and interaction on update of Public Works Director position. There's an I there up there, so possible executive session. That's up to you guys.
Do we want to go in the executive session and talk about performance and all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody would make a motion to.
Yeah, you're gonna
I'll
have
make
to.
a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second.
Jeff Cody.
Randy Lee.
Greg Sprinkle.
Tim Shem.
Chris Burkett.
You got all that? Motion and second, okay. So we're gonna adjourn for a few moments to executive. It is 7:12.
Just read it.
Don't need it.
Just read it. Don't read it.
Back there.
right, we're back on. Okay. We're back, it's 8:05. We're gonna resume back into our regular session meeting. We're on item 8C. I will revert to council. We had a discussion back there. I'll revert to you guys. And if there's any motions, discussion, whatever you got.
I make a motion, we table C until the next council meeting.
I'll second that. Judge Govey?
Greg Sprinkle.
Yes, yeah.
Chris Burkett?
You got all that?
Yes, sir.
So that takes us to 8D. Discussion and action regarding water system infrastructure improvements in Arrowhead neighborhood. Dr. Chad?
I wanted to put that on there because that was one of the main things that I've heard about since even before I ran to council. It hasn't really been talked about or discussed. I know, I think it's on some kind of paper somewhere to get started at some point, but I think we have to start somewhere with conversation and getting their water lines fixed because it's our existing plant, and how can we grow if we can't take care of what we got? So that's why I wanted to put that on there and have a discussion about it.
Isn't that what we were gonna choose a couple of capital improvement projects on the comprehensive plan?
If I remember right, it's number one on the comprehensive.
Yes, it
This
is.
is one of the top projects, and then like Ramsey said, that when we go to do our capital improvement plan studies, that would be one of those top projects to look at before we can look at possible grants for.
What kind of time frame are you looking at for that?
So we've got to finish this comprehensive plan as far as engineering, planning, and zoning. Then once that's adopted, then we'll move into capital improvement plan. I think me and Chrissy were talking that in hopes of possibly having that by next fiscal year.
Okay.
So we can financially be able to fund the study itself, and then with that, we'll be able to help us find possible grants and other funding for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that here we are for, I can't remember when my neighborhood was done, but no, my neighborhood was redone in, I think it was the early 90s. And Arrowhead was supposed to have been done at that time, and at that time, the current city management and employees and all that failed the city, right? So I believe it was somewhere around 95, somewhere early 90s. So, if you do the math, that's what, 30, right at 30 years now. So the poor decisions of those people put our city 30 years behind, right? The cost of that then probably was a couple $100,000 at most. Now, I will tell you that grant, that was all done by grant. There was pipe that actually wasted and ruined that never got used because that grant was subject to citizens' help. So there's people that still live in my neighborhood. There's several older gentlemen that I talked to in my neighborhood that worked with city employees replacing the pipes in my neighborhood. So that was part of the grant, right? I mean, citizens had to agree to that. And so it's a failure of our city, predecessors before all of us 30 years ago, that we're having to be faced with and deal with today. And to be honest, it's multiplied how many times? I mean, that project's probably going to cost somewhere, I would say, maybe not north of $1 million, and maybe east of $1 million. But you're going to be there. That's a lot. It's going to be a lot of money for that to be done and done correctly, to get all the utilities in there replaced as they should be.
So let me ask you this, grants that come in, like maybe the SRA infrastructure grant?
Unfortunately, we can't banter back and forth. No, I'm sorry.
Well, I wanted to say the SRA grant. Okay.
Unfortunately, we can't do that. This is not an open meeting, so unfortunately, we can't. The law is not our choice. So I'm sorry.
So, if I understand, Christie had already, and I don't remember the acronym, they had already done some of the preliminary work to get the grant process moving fund the first couple of projects that we're picking, is that right?
That's
the
what I
capital
understand.
improvement plan.
Yes, that's what,
That's-
yeah.
that's
the
where she
capital
said is we're
improvement
next.
plan. So we're gonna have a comprehensive plan and then the capital improvement plan for them two to go together. And then that gets, and the reason why is that gets you a whole lot higher up the list to get approved for grants such as the replacement of these pipes.
And
Now-
so that
Our
process,
infrastructure, I should
that
say.
process is in
which
the works.
she
So
also-
The grant part for the capital improvement plan, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
She
I
also
just
did
wanted-
our PIPs, if that's the acronym you're looking for.
Yes,
And that is to also look at potential funding with Texas Water Development Board that could possibly help fund those projects.
And that would
she
be
does that
without,
annually.
and that would be without the comprehensive and the capital improvement plan.
And
So
outside
there-
of all.
So there's definitely, there's lines in the water.
yeah.
We're trying to catch fish, but unfortunately, you know, there's no possible way this city would be, there's no money. I mean, the budgets are open. Anybody can look at these budgets in this city. You know, it's not a hidden budget, so you can't find the amount of dollars to take care of this. You know, and, you know, some people say, well, why can't we just come in there and change out a few pieces of pipe at a time? That's not the proper way to do that. You know, and again, if you did that and you go in and you disrupt some of that old pipe, right? Some of that pipe is old enough that it'd cause problems.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make it clear to the citizens that we're actually doing something to get there. We're not just sitting around waiting. We actually have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. You know, unfortunately, there's just so much the city ourselves can do without the grants and other helps. Does that kind of answer what you wanted to say? Now, is there any other discussion, or is there any actions? Is there anything moving forward on it? Or? No? Okay, so then we will, hopefully we satisfied that. So that'll take us to 8E. Discussion and or action regarding pump equipment troubleshooting and outsourcing cost.
That was just, I guess, the complaints about the pumps and the employees not knowing how to fix it, or they don't have the right tools or the tools with them to fix it. So maybe if we can get some training or.
So this is gonna stand off the spillage, right?
Yeah.
We did not have a pump there. We had to get a brand new pump brought in. And I got the numbers from H&H over this budget year, spent $32,000.
And troubleshooting and minor work.
And I switched to Peterson pump, 11,000. And the biggest part of that was buying new pumps.
Yeah, I'm glad we made that switch.
Currently, right now,
I asked for it.
right now
a long time.
the guys are at 19 over there in Quill Run. They keep flushing stuff. The pump's closed currently.
Okay, now, did we order another pump? Because most of our lift stations take the same pump.
The pump on 19 is new. It's just the stuff that's getting flushed is clogging it. Last time it got clogged, it was dish rags.
We're trying to put something out, keep something out on
Yep.
Facebook and our website. I mean, and it does suck, and hopefully there's some people out there that can hear us tonight. Please be considerate of what you flush down the toilet.
So this next budget, I'd like the budget to get some new pumps to keep in stock.
Oh, that's what I was asking. Did we try to at least get one to keep you out of this bind?
We're running tight in that
It's
line
fine.
item budget.
Well,
for-
I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's pay me now, pay me later. We need to
Yeah,
come to
we need
terms.
to do
We need to
something.
come to terms with that,
What's the
right?
cost of the pumps?
It's time.
Right, and that's what, and again, you pay me now, pay me later, right? So if we don't buy a pump now and get it in stock and have it here, and when we get a call and the lift station's overflowing and the pump is trashed, we run back to the shop, we get the pump, we put it in. Yes, we have a spillage, but we're gonna have a spillage anyways. So we're probably gonna have to report.
Yeah,
But we didn't have to call a pump truck that cost us another $600 or $1,000.
Right.
That's what we have to think about. So it's literally buy a pump. It is, I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is. We have, 26 pump stations. Why I know that, I have no clue. But, so we have 26 pump stations. Chances are we need a pump in stock.
We should always have a pump in stock.
At least two, maybe even two.
So,
Well, they're so old too that there's going out one by one.
well, and if we know that, then that's even more reason to have one in stock. And if we use the dead gun thing, we need to have one ordered the next day.
If we need to find somewhere to move the money around from, we need to have one in stock.
Are they hard to find?
No.
You put some kind of a filter in front of
No, I mean, no.
No.
If you put a filter in, the filter's gonna get clogged the same way.
But the pump won't be, you can still use the pump.
I don't think you can't filter sewage. That would be a disaster. You'd be over there every day cleaning that up, probably 3 or 4 times, 6 times a day. I mean, maybe we should take you, with a bar screen down there, it's a filter, and they have to clean that thing every morning and every
Every
evening.
morning.
So they never kept pumps installed or what? Or in stock?
We've had some in the past, I remember seeing some, but we
I think
probably
we
just,
need
we
to
probably
release
ran
two.
through them and we hadn't reordered, but I would say you need to order them.
If there are more than one pump part number, you should probably have one of each.
Yeah.
Right? So like you said, all of them may be the same. If all 26 are the same, then one is fine. But if 23 of them are one and 3 of them are another, we should probably have one of each, not
Yeah,
just one of the
definitely not all the
23.
They're all super close, but there's some differences. Yeah, get a pump. Get a pump at least to cover yourself. I mean, you're going to save money in time. You're going to save money in other resources. All these things.
They're anywhere from 4,000 to 8,000.
And the old pumps that we took out, did we rebuild any of those?
No, they're done.
When you say
Like the
done,
one over there with the spillage, it just seized up.
that doesn't matter. You can put bearings and packing and seals and everything in these
Yeah.
pumps. They can all be rebuilt, probably for a fraction of the cost of a new one. So I asked that if we haven't thrown them in wherever, we look into that option. Because you can rebuild these pumps. New impellers, new bearings, new packing, new seals. Yeah, for sure. As long as the housing isn't cracked and the boards for the bearings are not worn, these pumps can be rebuilt. So, I wouldn't say just trash them. We need to talk to our pump guys, our distributors, and find out, if they have that option to rebuild them. And again, that's just something to think about. And more especially if you've got 3 different types, and you've got 3 different type old ones, then we should darn sure look into trying to rebuild these pumps.
Is this gonna require a budget amendment if you vote right now? To buy an extra, or do you have room in the budget?
It's gonna require
It's
a
gonna require one. I can move from the.
But it'll require a budget amendment, but we can't stop the city though.
Correct.
We can make a budget
No, I just
amendment
for your
after
motion,
right,
that's what I mean.
after we go over, a certain line. Because if we have an emergency situation, we're not gonna wait to have a budget amendment meeting, right?
No, I mean for today, for voting purposes now, so we'd be amending to move money, that's all.
Well, I don't know if you could amend something that you have known of what.
Well, if you're saying they're out of money right now, that's all I'm asking. Are they out of money in that line item right now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So then you would have to budget.
But what's the amount we're amending?
Yeah, we can't vote, because we don't know where we're moving it and how much we're moving it. He's gonna have to bring that back to us next meeting.
But doesn't mean we can't.
Can't stop, we can still buy the pump, but
Right.
get the amendment to us.
What we would lean on them to do is look at the budget and say, okay, look, we actually had more than what we should have had over here. We've been able to do better in this section, but we went and bought these pumps. And so we're going to have to move the money over here to make this line up. And quite honestly, as long as if it's in the sewer budget, there's really not an amendment needs to be done. What's the purpose?
Well, you may know where there's money, but that's what I'm saying, is that there may actually be a way to do that. I know we've had money in, like, vehicle budget too, or in the water.
I think we need to talk about that a little stronger, because if we amend the budget, then we actually are tainting the end result, and we don't grow from it next year, and we don't look at it in our budget workshops and say, oh, we missed it here, we went over budget by $5,000. If we amend it, then when we look at it during budget workshop, we're not gonna see that to know that we need to be there.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I don't think you can spend money that you don't have budgeted.
If it's within the sewer budget, we could.
We don't have it, thing is, y'all got y'all's budget really highly specified, and that's all. But if you know you've got room somewhere right now in May, then that's a quick fix that we could do now without any issue. That's all I'm saying.
We don't know what the pumps cost.
But if you say it's 4,000 to 8,000, did that come from you? That may have come from you.
Judy said 40.
Okay, I was like, I knew somebody said 40. Then the council could budget up to 8,000 to move.
I know we had discussed fleet purchase, that hasn't been touched. Don't know if that would be touched before the end of the fiscal year. We could, if we wanted to move money today, we could say that we could do a budget amendment from the fleet purchase line. I'd have to look at the exact number on it to the lift station maintenance line.
And it may be going into the next year's budget that you want to be less highly specified in that, for that purpose, so that we have more flexibility.
The 3-inch we just replaced was 4,500. There's like different brands of them, are they all the same brand?
No, there's different brands, but the brand's not really gonna determine the price, it's gonna be the size.
I don't think we can do any of that anyway right now because it's not on the agenda. I think it has to come back to us with the plan for the amendment and all that. But like Mayor was saying, we need to go ahead and get it, make sure
We
we're
can't
clear.
go without pumps.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta keep this city going.
Right.
That's the bottom line, right? So do we have any kind of motions on that line? For item 8E?
There's really no motion there. Unless we want to bring it back to the next meeting.
If they find the money, I don't know if we have to even bring it back. They can move money around.
Okay. So no motion to be made on 8E. That's going to take us to 8F. Discussion and action on Public Works departmental activity and resource allocation by reviewing February, March work orders and GPS tracking data. So that was something that you were looking at the work orders and the GPS tracking, right?
Yeah. I don't know if we got all the vehicles in GPS tracking data, but I did notice that those had really a lot of idle time. It's almost like, I don't know if vehicles never get shut off or what, but that could be some reasons why some of the trucks have some maintenance issues. If they never shut the trucks off, when they stop. And then I'm trying to see maybe if we can get the mayor access to the GPS data tracking, at least until we have somebody that's actually got the position in charge. We'll see everybody's thoughts on that.
I'm not sure I understand. If we don't have access to that data,
We don't currently have a login to view the GPS data.
I don't know who does you. Yeah. So right now that's just Mary. I think before it was.
Judy has access to this as well. I would need him for that.
So, yeah, and what do we got, 4 trucks?
Well, yeah, 2 down.
Right, but I'm saying 4
Right.
that are normally on the daily running. I think there was GPS records for 3.
3.
Is that right?
And with this, maybe I uncheck the box unintentionally. Just making sure I have the right ones, because I was trying not to get all the equipment, because we have trackers on equipment. So we actually have trackers on an old truck that got auctioned off that nobody went to get that off.
Nice.
So that one's sitting in Saxon.
We should
It
know where
was
to go
rounding
get it.
out of time. We've got, yeah, it's in Saxon at the moment. It was in Garland, I think, at one point. We've got trackers on our major equipment, so when I pulled that report, I was
We got them on trailers, we got them on lawnmowers, we've got them on track hose, the backhoe. Yeah, when we got that trailer stolen, I made a suggestion that we need to get these on our equipment.
So what we're here is the idle time, and you're the mayor's one.
Idle time's really what I saw the most of. That was really, and that would probably be why some of the trucks have some of the issues of not starting or whatever, you
You
know.
have a protocol for when they're out gonna be out on the call for too long, where they shut them off, or?
Yeah, if they're out too long, they'll shut them off, like when they're reading meters, they don't shut them off. And if it's hot outside, then we leave everything on.
Some of them are pretty long, longer than reading meters. They're pretty long periods of time.
Meters are all day.
Where they're just sitting, the truck's not moving at all.
I'm guessing it, the one that has a starter problem wouldn't be shutting it off. Or does it start? It doesn't start at all?
No, it's hard.
Okay.
Well, and that starter is out, but again, I think what Chad's saying is if a vehicle sits there idle for a long
No,
period
no,
of time,
that's
it's not great on them, but, there's a lot of vehicles that do idle for long periods of time, so.
Well, I can tell you, my diesel truck does not like that. It'll go into that fast idle. It's plain.
So,
Yeah, good.
Like two, and they're about 16 years old.
But, no, I think like you're saying though, they're, all the reports weren't there for the trucks that we're currently having used at the moment. But that may be something that we need to review as well. I don't know which truck is missing.
I thought I put bombs up, I'm not sure, I have to go back and look at them. It
Oh,
was
I
like
guess-
300 and something pages, so I didn't,
It was a lot.
and there's a lot, when you're pulling 2 months of data every moment they're moving, it's a lot of data to go through.
So I think at the very least, Mary to review that,
And pull
which
that report again.
trucks, JD to kinda reiterate, just for them to watch it, not telling them that they're doing anything wrong,
Be mindful of the idle time.
be mindful.
Yeah.
Management by exception, can't really look at all of them, but if somebody says, hey, I saw this guy sitting there for 3 hours, then you check it. But otherwise, it's impossible to monitor all of these things. Management by exception.
Any other discussion or motions for that, for 8? Yeah.
Have it,
No discussions, no motions? No? Okay, so we'll go to 8G, discussion and action regarding FEMA grant application package for emergency sirens, Ramsey Lindsay.
So I have looked at getting a couple of emergency sirens here. Been in contact with some vendors who put together a grant package. There are some things that I would need to complete it. I talked to the Texas Department of Emergency Management, and we are past, they are not accepting, they're not funding anything now. We're past their deadline, but they will take the application and submit it, and they'll hold it, and that'll put us near the front of the line. And of course, that's ultimately funded by FEMA. And FEMA on their website said that they would make exceptions for, I think their word was compelling applications. And I kind of thought with 43% of our homes being manufactured homes, that tornado warning system would really be cool here. The TDEM people said when we have everything together, call and they will help us submit that. And what I need is, we need to do a public notification, and I've drafted samples that we can use for any of that. We would need a council resolution authorizing us to apply for the grant. We would need also, they will, in some cases, waive matching funds. And since we are an opportunity zone, we stand a good chance of having that waived. So we need a letter signed by the mayor, and again, I've drafted something that should work. Then there's I don't know what this form is, SF4. I've got it in the document. That needs to be signed, and then there's a lobbying certification. I think everything else is in there, but Andrea Sanders at the TDEM will help us through that process if there's anything else we need.
Do they have a sample resolution they want, or do you need one from them?
I do have a sample in there. And I've given Mary an electronic copy of the thing.
So obviously there's no cost to us, right? Right now, it's just you applying it.
If we get a waiver of the matching funds, then yeah, there would be no cost.
But you'll be the one applying it.
What's that?
Are you the one applying for it?
Well, the city will apply for it.
He's done a lot of the legwork though.
It requires a login and some things that I probably shouldn't have. But I've got all the documents ready to go do it. For a 2-siren system, and I had suggested that we put them at the two water towers. That is just under 100,000. I got today, like an hour before coming here, I got another bid package that came in. Their sirens don't have the same reach, and so that was a three-siren system, and that one was more like 140,000.
Go for the 100,000.
Well, at this point, since we're waiting for either FEMA to take us as an exception or for TDEM to open up for new applications, it's the old, if you don't ask, the answer is no. So we're just gonna ask and see if it comes through at some point.
Yeah.
It may be next year before we get anything, but we'll be in the line.
Can I ask a quick question? Do you know the opening dates for when they need to be drafted and put in, like the regular, not the exception dates of when the grant would be opening?
TDEM
Yes.
will not have funding again until there is a presidential declaration.
Okay.
And so nobody knows what that is, and with some of the things being turned on and off at FEMA, with nobody really knew the answer.
I was just saying if I need to put it on a calendar or remind ourselves, talk about it, that works.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea, and I appreciate all the effort that you put into this. I think it's a great idea.
It's just a matter of,
I don't ever want to hear them go off if we were to get them.
no kidding, but I don't want to hear that tornado come in my backyard and not know it.
We'll start to
We
deal
had enough
with the water
approved,
tower.
like do the resolution to approve.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't. Okay, so we wanted to try to get that maybe on the next agenda.
I forgot you live
I live next door to one.
So, yeah. I appreciate it. I mean, is there any other discussion? I mean, to me, this sounds like I'm waiting on somebody to say something.
It's a great idea.
I think the attorney said she's gonna work on the resolution,
Yeah, it'll come
so
back.
Yeah, I mean, if you could work on the resolution and proof this letter and make it ready with all the,
I think it'd be nice to know if there's something coming.
So we'll bring it. No election, just we'll bring it back to
Bring
the
it back.
resolution next. Okay.
We got a motion on this?
So I guess we'll make a motion that we table it while they work on the resolution until next month.
I don't think we need to even take an action at all because it's gonna come back as a resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to 8H, discussion and action for potential adoption of parkland dedication ordinance, including a fee in lieu of structure for new development in the city.
So I'll take this one.
So that's a whole lot like the impact fees. And what we're looking for, Greg and I met with the park director of the city of Carrollton, and it was a very interesting thing. And that's how about 50 cities in Texas are funding their park. Is they're assessing a fee on new development to raise money for the park. And it is kind of a complex subject. And I really think that it's probably going to require just to understand all the hoops that we've got to jump through in terms of calculations to arrive at what these fees would be. I really think it's going to take a workshop or possibly even a special meeting once we get, or to be able to sit down and go through the intricacies of getting it done. But it is a method of funding our parks without putting a tax on or using the resources of our citizens, the existing citizens. And it's a good way to raise real money to make that park right.
I'd be interested to see what that looks like as far as the planning of where developments, has there been any forethought on what developments are coming that those monies would come from?
Is that a percentage of?
So basically the way it works is they take a percentage of the cost of the land and then base it on the number of units that are going to be on that land.
Right,
So-
and I guess to expand on what I was saying is, when we say Carrollton, we can't compare Carrollton to West Tawakoni.
No, absolutely
Right,
not.
and Carrollton probably, well, I know Carrollton, even still today, as much as they have developed, they still have more undeveloped land than West Tawakoni could dream of having today. So I guess this would be maybe a decent short term or a shot of penicillin for the city, but I think we need to think outside of this because this would only be a temporary thing because once the dirt is developed, then we're done. There's no more developing, there's no more of these impact fees that would be applied because we don't have that much dirt, I guess is what I'm trying to.
I think that's a fair point. I think that what it does do is it gives us an opportunity to generate revenue for parks that we've never had before, right? So if we have, we have a $10,000 parks budget today, and we're able to collect 10, 12, 15, 100, $200,000 in the future over the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, that's money that we don't have to get from our citizens to get our park into it, because in reality, the park is the big draw, the lake is the big draw for West Tawakoni.
And I don't want to bring all the doom and gloom, but what I'm saying is, when it was mentioned about it would cost the citizens no more money, what I want to make sure is we don't change our focus and think the citizens won't have to spend money on our park, or the citizens will not be asked to spend money on our park or give to our park, because we're never going to take that. We can't take that away. I'm just being realistic.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to imply that citizens would not.
And that's the reason why I'm saying I don't want it to be misperceived as this was going to replace any monies that the citizens now are giving or
So
going
to
towards our park.
say it more clearly, the citizens that are here today would not be responsible for paying for the additional equipment, wear and tear, use of the park that new people come in would bring to that. Because they are gonna bring an additional cost and additional demands. And by funding that through that new development as opposed to, the general fund, or wherever, it's a way to fund it.
We'll have to talk about it more because, we can't just impose a lot of fees on a business that's wanting to come here either, We've gotta be careful about how much we can punish a business coming in.
I don't
We can't
think
really do that.
Commercial.
Yeah, no,
It's not commercial, it'd be residential development. So where this would come into play would be some of the development, like the new development, right, what's it, Wichita Bay, right? That development, that, if something like this would have been in effect, there would have been, and I guess that's where I was being the doom and gloom is, how much more do we have, right, as far as development? I mean, if we really looked at our city, it's a great idea, I'm not saying we don't do it, but I think this is a very small piece of the pie of whatever other ideas we need to come up with to fund that part, because I can't see this giving us more than maybe, high hopes, $100,000 over 10 years. With the dirt that we have available in West
Our
Park.
budget is now.
Okay, it's about.
Yeah, that's double our park budget too.
Right, I know, that's what I'm saying, we can't stop there, we can't let this.
Absolutely,
We can't
no.
let this be our plan to build our park to the glory that all of us want.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the concept at all. I think this is a piece of the big puzzle.
So I'm excited, that'd be great, every little bit counts, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Every little bit counts.
So I think my ask here is that we have a workshop to go through so that we all understand how this works and so that we can look at the calculations and figure out how to do it.
Well, just so you all know, we're all fixing to have some workshops coming up, and there are gonna be a lot of them for our budget workshops. They will actually start soon. Okay, I mean, is there any suggestions or motions for a workshop, or is there ideas on that?
I would say make it line item in a budget workshop, that's really where it belongs,
I think this is going to be a little bit more discussion than you'll find, than we're going to have time for in a budget workshop. I've given Lee an analysis document, and there's more to it than we're going to. It's going to take an hour or two to understand it.
And he said it to me yesterday, and so I started kind of reading through it this morning, but I haven't fully been able to dive in. But it is a pretty interesting option for funding, especially with residential builds. And there's different ways I think you can do it. And so if you really the avenues we want to look at, but I will need to read more.
Do we want to go straight into a workshop first, or do we want to let you guys kind of zero that in a little bit so we know what we're going to be looking at in a workshop? Or do we have enough data that we could schedule it and really make it a beneficial workshop?
It might be a good idea for you and I to kind of spearhead what we think is the best option before we present. Does that work?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, peel some of the layers back, that way we know exactly what we're dealing with. And then we just put it on, I mean, we can put it on an agenda for a workshop.
So they kind of get the next month to get an idea of what's going on and.
Do you think that's fair, give y'all a month to really peel this thing back, or do we need that long, you think?
I've been reading a whole lot about it. I'm ready to start discussing it. It's technical enough.
It may be that you and I, before you leave, you and I schedule a block of time that we just sit and visit, talk about what we want to do. And then I think that'll get us down the road, and then we can look at what a workshop at that point. Because some of it may be marching orders for me, of what exactly you already think is going to work best, so I can hammer hammer out those details.
I mean, we can schedule a workshop meeting outside of this.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
all we gotta do is
Okay.
talk to one another and say, hey, can you do a workshop on said day?
Yeah, we can have that done in, you know.
Yeah.
Depending on Lee's schedule, we can have that done.
Well, then y'all just get with Mary and then she can start reaching out saying, hey, guys, we're gonna do a weather report workshop. Okay.
Time to take your medicine.
So we're just gonna let that lay in y'all's hands. There's really not
And then
much of a
we'll reach out.
motion, so there's not a motion needed on that. It's gonna take us to, 8I, discussion and action regarding encouraging multifamily housing by providing zoning for it or by other means.
So people can't even find a place to live in this city, you know, we don't have, it's only about 3% of our total population lives in a multifamily unit, just 3%. So I think we should encourage more multifamily buildings coming in, especially in the areas where you can bring in more high-end development.
Well, we have multi-zoning.
We have some coming in, right?
We have, but we have zoning, we have the availability zoning already in our city.
No, I'm talking more about, is there any kind of incentive we can give if somebody is willing to bring it? It doesn't have to be a lot of money, but I'm saying any kind of incentive.
Yeah, you can do things, like city can waive tap fees and stuff like that.
That's an incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's things the city can do. Yes, there is. It's all conversation, and we've done that. Well, I mean, yeah, we've done that with development down there. Yeah, we've made incentives. That's all conversations that.
Is there somebody that's talking to you about wanting to bring?
I think so. You know, in that report it says we only have 3%. That's the reason. There's nothing else.
You need to rezone.
It's not, we don't have to take it up now. What I'm saying is something to think about. You know,
Okay.
it's good for us to have it.
But yeah, I mean, we have zoning. We do have zoning that supports multifamily housing. Okay. So then I guess that's going to take us to 8J. Discussion interaction to set budget workshop dates for June 2025.
Fun time to look at a schedule. So what, is there, I guess the best word to start, because we're looking at summer, is there any like no-go dates? I would like to give maybe one, for sure, two workshops and to kind of start lining this out. My goal would be so we can have our budget completed by the first week of August. We'll get our final property tax notification numbers July 25th. Previously, it seems like the budget starts getting worked on come July 25th, and we're spending every bit of August dealing with it. So I'd rather spread it out a little bit, give us all time to work with it, digest a little bit, so we're not looking at a meeting on a Monday and coming back on Wednesday and making changes.
What time are these workshops usually?
I like doing them earlier rather than later, because we have more time to deal with them.
In the mornings?
No, evenings.
That's what I'm asking.
I'm like 6:30ish.
Yeah,
is
usually
kind
we
of
do 6:30. We try to do like, if she's wanting to in June, every other week.
kind of what I'm saying. I mean, there's some dates that I have not possible. I think Kevin's got some dates that are not working. Does anybody have any like?
June, I could probably make June work. Whatever. I think that was more of a.
I know I will
I
be
didn't
out
remember
the
that month. I was
23rd
like May.
and 27th. And there's already, I know you guys have a workshop that I'm not going to be able to be at on that week as well for all of our boards and commissions.
Yeah.
So that was 26th.
And this will be on a weekday though, right?
Yes, it's going to be during the week in the evening, 6:30ish, just to kind of line out the framework that'll give
We had the
me and all of our
26th
department heads
already
time to start looking through it.
tentatively scheduled, so.
What
So make it
We had
not
the
on a Friday.
26th already tentatively,
Yes,
tentatively
26th is
scheduled.
scheduled for the boards and commissions,
What day is that?
Thursday.
Thursday the 26th. And, I mean, if y'all want to look at the first week of June, the third week of June, I don't want to jam everybody's schedule up. I know everybody's people have vacations and plans.
Are you trying to do it before the monthly meeting?
you guys are welcome to June 10th. We can do it. I mean, I'm open. That's why I want to put it on the agenda now, so we're not doing this in July and August, September.
June 4th, is everybody open?
What day is it?
Wednesday.
I'd make it happen.
I can do
I
Wednesday.
think I'm open then.
Wednesday the 4th, 6:30.
Yeah, well,
Maybe earlier if we can.
Okay, do we want to go ahead and plan the second one out?
are we gonna set time limit on it, or we just going with it?
Please.
When do
I
the
mean-
other groups meet? When does P and Z meet? When does,
Yeah.
P- what-
Wednesdays are not, so EDC meets first Monday.
Okay.
We meet second Tuesday. Keep West Palm Beautiful is on the third Thursday.
I just wanna make sure.
I don't remember what building and standards, dates were,
Do we want to do 6 or 6:30?
6. But if nobody can make 6.
I mean, I know
okay, I'm
6:30 we
six.
just took a long
Since I'm
time.
pushing it for me, brother.
June, you're gonna have traffic with, they're gonna be tearing up 276. So I think you better set it for 6:30 for anybody that's coming in out of town.
Yes.
Y'all
We're
can
gonna
do
have,
weekends
we're
too.
gonna have
just
the
not
sheriff's
Friday
calendar to
weekend.
put this on.
Yes, at the moment, we're 2
Well, I
weeks
think we've
out.
done it. We've
on
done
that.
some weekends before
But I-
workshops.
Late Sunday
I can do
afternoon's not
weekends.
bad. There's not much
I
going
can do
on.
weekends.
5 or 6 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon.
Weekends I'm just so busy.
Weekends are hard. Do we want to plan, I know we've got council meeting on the 10th, do we want to plan the week after, or do we want to wait and see what it looks like?
You can set another one at the council meeting.
Yes, I mean, we can put that on the agenda to set another workshop.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, and just do that.
But it's good for.
And then, just for clarification, is there anything we want to start with, or we want to start looking at, or, because I don't want to bring all of y'all a bunch of documents and notice if it sits there, I don't have an idea.
Some, y'all have traditionally done it in clusters, that's what we like, public
Yes.
works, you bring up first, so I don't know.
That was always, I think that's what we started with last year, was,
Yeah.
or did we do all the small ones?
No, typically what we've always done is we get all the small ones knocked out of the way.
So we can plan for, start looking at the smaller ones?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to say that the way we've always done is the right way, right? To be honest, it might be better if we attack the bigger ones first. I mean, that's really how you should go about.
Only thing about the biggest, about general fund would be is we don't have finalized numbers, we have preliminary numbers, which I think that's one reason I probably left it. But I'm open for whatever, as long as we get it sooner rather than later.
And that could be the reason why, but I mean, when you say finalized numbers,
Property taxes. Those come out, oh, we have preliminary numbers now.
Yeah.
Now that everybody got all of their stuff, we got those numbers, but they'll still be hammered out, we'll get our final approved numbers 25th, and then we'll have to vote for which one we go for.
well, I mean, your tax numbers, that's just math, right? That's easy math to pop into everything, and that could have been why they did it, because there's
That's the
so
only
much,
reason I can understand.
there's so much more than the bigger ones. But, I'm open for it, it's y'all's decision on what we want to start with.
We're all, some of us are so new, we don't even know, which way to start. So you may have to guide us through some of this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Chris, what are your good, bad, and
I
uglies on
think we
these?
can start with the small ones. It would be nice if we could start with the big ones, but I don't think.
There may have been a reason, like what you're saying, is it's a lot easier, a lot better idea to start with the small ones. I never thought about the tax side of it. I was thinking about tasks. You should always do your biggest task first when you're working on something, but maybe we can't apply that science, right?
He has a thought.
I do, there's some stuff in public works that I think that Mike had been handling prior to that might be weird, might not.
I think we're going to dig a little deeper into that, and,
Yeah.
Public Works on general fund and water sewer, just so we can get a better idea as to what we were looking at previously.
What was being managed where, I think that's some of the, was like, because Mary's salary prior to her being city secretary was coming out of public works, which was kind of strange as a payroll person,
So
Okay.
that's kind of some fun things.
So we'll start with the small ones.
Okay.
We're going to need a vote on that workshop date. It's June 4th
Make a motion, we meet on June 4th for a workshop
at 6:30.
at 6:30 PM.
That's Kobe.
Lindsay, Lindsay,
Greg Sprinkle.
and
Yes.
Thank you.
Chris Burkett.
Motion passed. Okay, Any future agenda items that anybody can think of that we need to make note of tonight?
I don't have anything now.
No?
One thing I think of is a TDM, resolution.
Well, that's, yeah.
And then we had, just a few other things from tonight. We're gonna do the underground system with wireless water meters.
Yeah, that got moved over.
And then
Public Works.
Public Works, and then, y'all motion to move the 613 Wild Valley presentation.
So you've got all those. So that takes us to number 10, citizens input. And I've got two. First one is Mr. Jimmy Van Huss.
Yes, sir. So this is my second time seeing you guys. I'd like for one of you to raise your hand and let me know who my city council member is. It's 605 Wild Valley, so who would be representing me?
We all do. We don't.
You all do, but who's the specific one in that?
So we're not
set up that way.
We're not set up that way.
Okay, that's fine. Well, you guys heard me speaking. You guys have 613 Wild Valley, some sort of presentation here. He's operating a commercial trucking business there. I told you guys this back in January. Code enforcement does nothing about it. He's not been written up in the 3 years that he's been living there for anything except for 2 permits, no culverts. He had 2 culverts that added, no permits for them. He's raised the elevation of his yard 12 inches, created a pond out of my yard. He filled in a creek. No one wrote him up for any of this, and I have a lawsuit against him right now for this, and no information. I thought the city had all this documented. And when I filed for the Freedom of Information Act, nothing there. All you guys wrote him up for is, like I said, 2 culverts and trash and debris all over the place because it's a commercial truck parking lot. He's storing 1,000 gallons of diesel fuel over there right next to a creek. He's got used motor oil, new motor oil. He's doing work all hours of the night, power washing them. He's flooding out my property because he's power washing these trucks every time they come in from, a run or something. And he doesn't just have 1 truck. He's got 6 huge trucks. And that used to be like a serene park down there. The tenant that I had in there, she moved out because of this. All the neighbors in the neighborhood are pissed about this. I'm getting a petition together, and they're going to sign it. And I've spoke with all but 4 in that neighborhood. There's also people here building in this neighborhood. Kings Bridge, that's my neighborhood. And you guys drive by there all the time, see these dump trucks down there and do nothing about it. It's ridiculous. You guys can go through these photos and look. The beginning photos is what the property used to look like. It's a residential neighborhood. So I don't know how he's able to operate a commercial truck there, but he is. And it's huge dump trucks. These things got 6 axles on them. They're tearing up the roads. It's making a lot of loud noise. It's a nuisance at the very least. Why is it deemed residential if you're going to allow commercial to be in there, though? I know you guys can't say anything back, but I'm infuriated, and this is a prime example of taxation without representation. You guys come in here, go off camera for 50 minutes and discuss something, that's unprofessional. There needs to be transparency. And then you guys talk about not having money, and you're going to give free taps to new developers to come in here. You have a finite amount of land. You said that. So you should be making as much money as possible off of every scrap of land you got out here, not giving freebies. There's going to be people coming here anyways because it's a huge lake. The population is swelling if you haven't seen the DFW area, and it's coming this way. So don't be giving freebies. Nope, you're not going to give me a freebie. Nobody give me a freebie. So why give a millionaire a freebie? The people are coming regardless, so make every dime you can and be more transparent. You can learn that from President Trump.
Okay. The next one is Leslie Jacoby.
Council of the City. I was told to bring up a point which has now been mooted, it's been tabled, but I wanted to take this time to bring up something else, speaking of budget. So I pay my business taxes, and I want to make sure that the money goes to the city of West Tawakoni. Just so you know, on the comptroller's website, it auto-populates to Quinlan. I had to literally write in West Tawakoni, and when I go in, I have to manually check it every time. I don't know how many other businesses are actually checking on this, but it's definitely worth looking into. Everywhere you shop online, do you notice that you're auto-populated to Quinlan? Do you know where your money is going? It's not coming here, it's going to Quinlan. From what I have gathered from just doing research and talking to people is that I believe it's the post office is the reason why. What I've heard is that there are talks that they have too much traffic out of that one post office and that they're ready to build a second one. I think that this is the time that we go ahead and split out from them and get our own identity. That way we can actually get some money coming into this town, because that's literally the answer to 50% of the problems that we have here in the city, which is the budget. I'm sorry. So I wanted to take this time to bring this up to everyone here. That way you can put it on your agenda and bring it up and try and get our dollars back. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Takes us to,
And I think we should put it where the library is and move the library to a bigger building.
takes us to, got a motion made by Chris to adjourn.
Second that.
Second by Chad. We got votes on that.
Judge Kobe.
Ramsey Lindsay, Greg Swank.
Dave Shem.
Wednesday, tomorrow, I'm
You got a vote on that, Chris?
Gotta be.
We're good.